ni ya maji, wakajua Kenya wamefanya, and then later on results are out, tunasema Matiang'I is overworking what? To please the media. There is nothing like overworking, because if he is overworking, the first person who was supposed to be arrested was the DCI during Matiang'i's era. DCI, George Kinoti alikuwa anatembea tu. Nurdin Haji akakuja na some fake cases. Sijui Gachagua ashikwe, sijui nani. After all, all those cases ziliachiliwa and everybody went home free. So let us stop this kind of sympathy we are giving to politicians, because these politicians, they are not our fathers, they are not our sisters, they are not our brothers. The only thing we can do with them is that if we have a steady, good leadership in this country, all these people are supposed to be arrested and jailed. Because the moment you start arresting these people, hiyo pesa yote wamekuwa kiiba tutarecover. Right now, look at Tanzania and Uganda. A very minute countries ziko hapa nje. Wanaenda AFCON 2027 na Kenya, the CS kazi yake ni kufikiria kuuza airport na kufikiria kutembea na ndege akitoa meno. Hiyo tu. There is nothing is thinking
1 minute.
So hata tu nimalizie hapo, but I'm still mad.
Asikia ni part.
Some of us steal money here, we go to Tanzania, we invest it there. Because when we invest it in Kenya, it will be more visible. You also bring money from Tanzania, some of it by road, na magari, mnapitia, mnakuja hapa Kenya, you start constructing buildings around here. That is what we do. So if we are stealing 2 billion per day, assuming we reduce the theft, we don't want to stop it, we just say, okay, if you have been stealing 1,000, please steal only 500 shillings. If you have been stealing 100,000, steal 50,000. If there could be that, I don't know whether to call it conscious decision, but if there could be such a decision, ridiculous as it sounds, we would be saving 1 billion shilling per day, which would accumulate to 365 billion shillings. That is more than the external borrowing. Some of us steal money here, we go to Tanzania.
That is the reality of the ground, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine. And they're laughing. The people in that room were laughing, which means it's actually true that people are stealing 10,000, 100,000 per day. God damn it. Inchi kona kitu kweli. Brian Osoro, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. So I hope everyone is okay. Because of time, I'll just go at it. I feel there was a time, I think I even tweeted it. I thought the internet would make things like information, critical thinking, reality, facts disseminate more faster than what we used to have back in the days. But I've come to realize that it's like we're heading back in the wrong direction. Why do I say so? I feel like people have, they call it revisionism. The understanding of history is predicated on what, it's like cherry picking. So you just pick what is good and whatever is not good, we leave it. So, for example, you keep on saying Kibaki was the best president. Anyway, I'm not here to argue with that. But if you look at Kibaki's story, yes, it was good. He worked okay, he built this economy, but he mismanaged politics. We almost lost this country in 2007, 2008. That is something people don't want to talk about. We talk of, I don't know, what is his name? Matiang'I. And people forget that Matiang'I did not want to listen to teachers. He forced the CBC curricula, even when studies were done by institutions like KICD, showing that we have not trained the teachers. CBC requires stationery that, we might not be having. It imagines of a village that has printers and the internet. What I'm trying to say is that there is nothing perfect in Kenya. So somebody was describing, Morara came, everybody was on Morara's, that wave. And then all of a sudden we dismissed him. Then there was this guy called Kasamuel, then we dismissed him. Right now it is Matiang'I. who I think some people are also dismissing. I'm not like what I'm trying to say is that Jesus is not going to come from heaven, atoke huko, then he comes on earth, then we vote for the person. Our politics is not organized that way, which is why every political party that has produced a president, it iliharibika. You can pick of the National Rainbow Coalition. After 2007, we had the PNU. You can look at KANU. You can any vehicle. I don't know, Jubilee. That's how our politics is organized. We don't have we don't respect ideas or institutions. We look at personalities, and I think this is exactly why people like Kinaruto thrive. He keeps on comparing us to Singapore, and what people don't understand is that Singapore, how their politics, even in China, how it's organized, it's based on institutions. In Singapore, you have what's the name of this party? It's called the People's Action Party, done by Lee Kuan Yew. 1958. In South Africa, you have the ANC. In Tanzania, you have Chama cha Mapinduzi. You don't have a special purpose vehicle by the name of Jubilee or UDA that is formed, and somebody wakes up and decides that Kenya's problem is housing, Kenya's problem is sheep. No, these things don't work like that. And that's why we get it wrong. And then immediately we don't look at it properly. We feel like it's an individual problem. Not really. I tend to differ. At the moment, there's William Samoei Ruto. And we can be here, we can be trying to paint a picture of this perfect leader that is better than William Samoei Ruto. And I can tell you, it will always be a losing battle, especially with our current setup. You can pick Kalonzo, you can pick whatever it is. It will always benefit Ruto. Because Ruto knows he only has to make Raila Odinga happy. Yes, anaweza kuwa amepoteza hapo Central. But if these people are divided, Moi, 1992 repeal of Section 2A, what happened? Some of us imagined that you're supposed to lose. Matiba akashika akaenda, Kibaki akaenda hivi, Jaramogi akaenda hivi. Kura ikidivaidiwa mara 4. Then what happened in 97? The same thing. It is only in 2002 when people decided Wamalo had issues with Raila, Kalonzo had issues with Ngilu. So I thought, like, all these people had issues with each other. So they decided, Niaje, let's come together. Now I can form what is called the National Rainbow Coalition. Achana na hii rainbow ya sahi. I'm talking about the party. So there is nothing like perfect. I would say the kind of language that we are going to use in making everybody understand, because me, I feel like language is important. I don't want to stand here and say that we don't need to vote for Matiang'I, we don't need to vote for Kalonzo. No, I feel like that only benefits the current regime, because that will be me sort of creating boundaries and differences between each other. I feel like if we can, I don't know what that is going to take, but if everybody can understand what happened in Kenya in the time of Moi and even in other countries, there are people here who are talking of a revolution. And I would say, yes, it's easy to say that we need a revolution, but can we ask ourselves, where has this revolution thing taken place and what were the results? And I can promise you, even in Africa, anybody here to come and give an example. Many people will say, oh, Burkina Faso. They'll say Burkina Faso because they don't know what happened in 1980 with Thomas Sankara. It is the same thing. Alienda pale, everybody was like, oh my God, this is a very good leader. Then what happened? He was taken out. By who? Thomas Sankara. Ibrahim Traore, this year alone, he has had more than 5 attacks. So this thing of having all our aspirations on one man, yani mwanamume mmoja, mwanamke mmoja, that thing is not sustainable. And that's why Africa, we are still stuck with so many of our problems. Because we think our problems are about an individual. We don't think What does this mean in 20 years? What does this mean in 30 years? What does this mean in 60 years? We only have 5-year plans. And we are here talking about, 2 billion shillings is being stolen every day. Ask yourself, hii pesa, are they using cash? The Exchequer does not use cash. They do bank transfers. If Chief was supposed to solve the malaise of NHIF, we are told that NHIF what will go wanaiba. Ask yourself, NHIF would pay hospitals using a bank transfer. A bank transfer means that these are records, and these records can be pinpointed to an individual. If any politician is serious about beating this big animal we call corruption, and I dare say this, there is no politician who's going to beat corruption. No one in our current setup. And we will be here over legislating, putting laws, saying, we are going to introduce this new thing, systems don't beat corruption. I happen to be from that background of software development. We don't. We can model technical things. We will never model the human condition. Those are things that you can't do. And of course, some people here are going to say, there's AI, there's biometrics, there's Nini. Safaricom loses how much? I remember I saw the value. Around $1 billion, or was it 1.5 billion on crime? The other day, Leona, Vijana, that group of Nini who stole 500 million. So my point is this. Democracy is a process. We need to trust the process. We just need to improve in how we communicate and how we look at Kenya. I'm not so big in individuals. I'm big in institutions. So if we can be able, maybe right now, if the rallying call can be, yes, I know you like Matiang'I, I know you like Alonso, I know you like Morara. Can we come here? We sit down and we build something. And this thing is not predicated on an individual. You can even look at South Africa, Julius Malema. Right now, everybody is leaving the EFF because he built something so good, but because he was the individual, he wants to control everything. Everybody is leaving him. So I don't know. I feel like there is so much to say. And of course, because this is a space and everybody has to talk, but I feel like those of us who can be able to communicate effectively and let people understand that hakuna Yesu. Yes, if you want to help, if you want to help ourselves, we need to help us. So, asanteni sana.
Asante sana kwa hiyo submission, Brian. Of course, I see we have Western Amino Mkono Juu. I'm going to go to Felix, then West 10. And then we are actually at 8:13 East African time. Thank you so much for tuning in. We run here up until 9 p.m. Remember, on that Jumbotron, there is a tweet I put out that tomorrow we will be having a panel of doctors in collaboration with Masinde Muliro University Students Antimicrobial Stewardship Chapter. We will be having a conversation on understanding antimicrobial resistance. So that conversation in particular, make sure you retweet it as I'm telling you what it's about. That conversation in particular is on how we create resistance through underdosage, overdosage of drugs, and much, much more. On the panel, of course, I'll be having 5 doctors, among others, Dr. Mbiti Modi, Dr. Sharon Oginda, Dr. Ismail Luta, Dr. Reno Omoro, and Dr. Machete Collins. They'll be sitting with us, answering our questions. And of course, tune in. It will be tomorrow from 7 p.m. all the way to 9 p.m. So make sure you tune in to that very important conversation. Of course, you should also search at HRWP on YouTube to see our latest YouTube videos. And of course, Home Run PP is supported by you, the listener. If you like what I'm doing, there is a tip jar line 0721948229 where you can drop in your support. Felix Otieno, talk to me. Fellow, are you there? All right, Weston.
Thanks, Pepita. I couldn't agree with Brian any better. But one thing is clear, Pipita, I will not rehash what I said because those who listened to me got me. Because I'm aware that no matter how well you explain yourself, someone will misunderstand you. And especially if you've got a preconceived mindset, you don't listen to the other person. You're just waiting for them to finish speaking and then you pick up. You don't listen. Nowhere did I pant for William Ruto. Nowhere did I do it. But because I'm saying things that are at variance with your political views, and you're so much passionate about your political views, you are impervious to logic. It follows naturally. So you act like a village fortune teller. What they do is that they predict something, and then they work towards realizing it. A self-fulfilling prophecy, that kind of thing. Tomorrow you're going to find an egg outside of your door. It comes at night and it places an egg outside your door. Did you find it? It's difficult, honestly, to have a conversation when you have that kind of a mindset. The point I'm making is that the country did not go to the dogs beginning 2022. That's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that we did not have a working system. Because if previously you don't know of anybody who lost a loved one through extrajudicial execution, please don't assume that things worked. There are people who mourned. They are in pain. Please don't make that mistake. That if you don't know anybody who was killed extrajudicially or something or over disputed elections, don't assume that things worked. If you don't know anybody who didn't get a job that they deserved because they came from the wrong ethnic group or region, please don't assume things worked. Don't. That's the point I'm making. We tend to look at our individual experiences and want to universalize them. Because I liked Kibaki, why don't you like him? Does it work like that? I mean, who tells you that your best friend is universally liked? Who tells you that? Who tells you that? The people who don't like your best friend, and they're justified because of their experiences with those same people you cherish. So why do you look for universality over things that are contested? And political figures are contested figures. Brian, I know some of these people, EFF, at a personal level. In fact, some of them told me this party is imploding. And soon after it started imploding. And exactly what you're saying, Malema is an autocrat. He's an autocrat. You have no voice. You can't go against him. They've been forced to leave. Going where? Joining a party led by an 82-year-old, Jacob Zuma. 82-year-old. They are leaving a party led by a 41-year-old. So you are 41 young, but you have got primitive ideas. Somebody who is extremely elderly is seen to be progressive. That's politics. So don't assume that because you dislike someone, that person is going to lose elections. It doesn't work like that. Donald Trump was disliked by so many people, and there were equally so many people who liked him. This is very, very candidate Jacob Zuma. For those who read politics, when he was about to succeed Thabo Mbeki, they fought him very hard, including rape charges were brought against him. But people voted for him, and he became president. In our own backyard, this William Ruto here, people thought he could never, ever become president. What is he? So what makes you think that if you hold an idea so strongly, that will become reality? When there's evidence that that could just be your own idea. You will dislike this person or you like this person. That's not what is shared by every other person. That's the point I'm making. And we go to school to have that complexity when it comes to reading our environment and the world. This monolithism, this directional way of life, this tunnel vision, it's only what you see in this tunnel. You don't see anything outside of that. You wear blinkers. I mean, come on, we can't do that. We can't. And that's the point I'm making. So for somebody to conclude that I'm campaigning for William Ruto, stuff like that, I mean, come on. In any case, I wouldn't be embarrassed. It's democracy. I would not be embarrassed of my thoughts. Do you know what I told people towards 2020 elections? And I've said this on this platform. that this candidate here is going to win elections. And they couldn't believe me. Say, no, you must be high on something. This candidate is going to win elections, William Ruto. I told them. They told me no. And some of those things are in writing. In writing. I told them no, he's going to win. That is being vilified. That in itself does not say much about elections and politics. It's much more complex. So we're here on space. This is an elitist forum. That person who is accusing me of elitism, this is an elitist platform. It's exclusive. It's not representative of the generality of the population of the Republic of Kenya. We have to be aware of that. So if I come here and express my views so strongly, those are just my views. They're not reflective of the thinking of the rest of the Kenyan society. And that's what humility is all about. And intellectual humility for that matter. That what I know is just a tip of the iceberg. It could just be my truth. It's not universal. It's not shared by everybody. So I must be appreciative of that. But to come here and say, no, what? How can you speak this about Matiang'I? What do you mean? What do you mean? This is a political figure. We don't valorize individuals, do we? Some of us don't thrive in a sycophantic environment. We don't. We don't thrive in that. We don't thrive in an echo chamber. We don't. We don't do that. Because that's where destruction lies. It's like a dead body of water, where there's an echo chamber, where people are sycophantic, there's no life there. There are no ideas there. Where there's contestation of ideas, as I keep saying, that's where there's growth and development. So on one hand, we vilify and condemn William Ruto. On the other hand, we want to support somebody who is exactly like him. Exactly. A political animal exactly like him. So how are you moving? Where are you going? As Peter puts it, why can't we just make do with this ruthless person? They do their 10 years, and then we get another ruthless person to proceed. Because we're not interested in transformation. We have become cynical. So people who have given up on Kenya are the people who are supporting the likes of Fred Matiang'I, not me. I've not given up on Kenya. I believe we can get credible leaders. We're going to take this country forward to where we deserve to be. But you, who just wants any politician to be a president, you have given up. If you don't know, you have given up. You have given up on good governance. You have given up on morality, on ethics, on constitutionalism, on inclusivity. You have given up. That's what you are, if you don't know. So you're saying William Ruto must punish these people. What happened during a Rigathi impeachment? You want to tell me people will not also take sides? They will. In fact, you will be the first person to condemn him. If he was to go against the likes of Rigathi, to take him to court, the likes of Uhuru Kenyatta, you will be the first to condemn him. But here you're saying, no, why hasn't he gone after these people and take them to court? What happened during the impeachment? Wasn't the country not polarized? Wasn't it polarized? So it makes you think it won't be polarized. If he was to go against fellow political elite and take them to court over past corruption, please, let's be honest about our thoughts. Let's be honest. And history, you're not going to wish it away. Because it's possible for protesters to be killed in 2024 because protesters were killed before. If they were not killed before, they will not be killed today. Yes, it works like that. So don't tell me about two wrongs don't make a right. We have got these problems, corruption today, that the one the CS Treasury is talking about, because people stole money before and they got away with it. And that's why those people are laughing. It's a laughing matter because it's a way of life. We have normalized it. We have normalized it. So to say, no, two wrongs don't make a right. Bygones are bygones. But these bygones are haunting us. They constitute a foundation of the problems we're facing currently, whether it's corruption, whether it's impunity, whether it's stolen elections, name it. There's a foundation to that. So why do you ignore this foundation? And societies that want to transform must first deal with historical injustices. If you want to move forward, you must. You cannot just begin from where you think, history starts now, 2024. It doesn't work like that. So this propensity to have amnesia, selective memory, we remember what we want to remember, we forget what we want to forget, define us as part of the problem, not part of the solution. It's as simple as that. I'm a problem because of the mindset that I have. And therefore, I'm going to distort what you're saying. because I can't and I don't want to engage you. So I just reduce you to you're a William Ruto supporter. Well, there's no evidence. There's no evidence to back that up. But it's easier to say that because this is a vilified candidate. So if you associate me with him, or you think, I mean, there's nothing I can say that can make sense. You see, that's propaganda. That's cynicism. It's not engaging. There's no rationale behind that. No, these are William Ruto supporters.
1 minute.
That's why they're speaking like that. It can't be. So it's imperative that we live and let live. There's something to take out of humility. There's something to take out of knowing that you have got some deficiencies. The other person has got something that you can learn from. That your view is not their view. It's just one of the many views. And in politics, that is it. A multiplicity of views. That's why we go to elections. Because we don't have one candidate. Otherwise, we would be a monarchy. Let's solve out those things. As I learned, Pipita, William Ruto is looking for a candidate like Matiang'I, a bad candidate. He's looking for that kind of a candidate. I can promise you. Is somebody like Matiang'I or Kalonzo Musyoka, those kind of people, he can't wait to have that kind of a candidate. And then we can wake up after those elections and we can have a conversation. Remember what they said last elections? They want Raila Odinga to run. That's the candidate they want. What happened? The rest is history. We never learned. Thank you, Pipita. Keep well.
Thank you for that, Western Shilaho. I see Felix Mkono iko juu, but I want to go to kina Japuonji wenye wametujoin hapa hivi ndani, Geodesic and Boss. How are you doing, Japuonji? Japuonji, unanipata? All right. Boss, how are you doing?
Niaje pipi?
Poa sana. Karibu kwenye show.
Unanipata fiti?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Thank you. Sasa jana I was here when you're talking about Matiang'I and I just listened. Today I'm back talking about is it too early to politics? Yeah? Actually, politics never stops at any point, whether it's 2027, somebody's already planning for 2032 and all that cycle. But I feel generally we've lost our course and what's happening now is what Ruto wanted, you know? Tuanze kufanya hizi siasa sijui za Matiang'I, sijui za Omtata, sijui za Babu Owino. Kenyans still have the power to take their country back. And we can only do that by taking over the parliament. How can we take over the parliament? 2027 election should completely be different. If an MP is planning to come to the ground, apeane hongo, na achaguliwe juu ni mtu wa Ruto, he should not be voted. Let's go for independent candidates. Let's go for candidates who are not puppets to anyone. You know, that's the only way we're going to take over the parliament so that we can elect independent-minded MPs. That's the first cause. Hata story ya Ruto mwajane nayo kabisa. Whether he wins or not, or whoever goes there will still behave the same way. So the other day we had Uhuru and everybody was complaining. We have Ruto now, everybody's complaining. What's the weakest link? The legislature, you know? Because it's the MPs that should put pressure. They should oversight. They're not doing it. They're all puppets. Ni kukimbia hapa mara waimbe Ruto, mara wafuate Raila, mara wengine wako na Kalonzo. Yet these people were voted by the electorate wenye wako kwa ground. Hawa ndio wanapitisha sheria ya kupeana pesa. They are the ones who should be overseeing things to do with corruption. These guys managed to kutoa Gachagua within a very short period of time. Yet in the same offices, CEOs, parastatal, all these other offices, iko na watu corrupt. And they're not doing anything about it. Because mtu anasema yeye ni mtu wa Ruto, sijui yeye ni mtu wa Raila, and such nonsense. And if there's one election that I know is very simple and nobody can rig, ni ile ya ground ya MP, ya MCA na magavana. That's why we should focus. So that ikikuja 2027, mjamaa kisimama na kuja hapo aseme, mimi ni mtu wa Raila, mimi ni mtu wa Ruto. Those are the people you should not vote for. Don't vote for somebody ati yeye ni mtu wa ODM, akuje pale ground awambie atafanya nini. We've been able to get a very useless parliament because of people voting for parties. Ati sisi tunapiga 6 piece. Such nonsense. If we had independent-minded MPs, Mtu mwenye amesoma, usichague mtu juu ako na pesa. Somebody who understands what an MP should be doing. Because as we speak, hatuna IBC. As we speak, people are talking of let's consolidate hizo basaris zote, watoto waweze kusoma bure. The MPs are against it, you know? And we are here talking about Ruto in 2027, you know? First of all, hata mtuchague Mtata, hata mchague Babu Owino, hata tuchague nani, these people are made of the same cloth and they'll behave in the same way. They only need a very functional parliament for them to deliver. That's it. Hata hiyo koti yenye inasemekana, it's all controlled from the legislature. If we have a proper parliament that is oversighting, that is calling out all the agencies and the responsible bodies, the country will work. You see, if you talk of Matiang'I himself had so many shortcomings. So actually, Matiang'I will be, if it so happens that he vies, that will be a walkover for Ruto. You know, people are still going back to mimi ni sijui kabila gani nafaa support candidate fulani. And there are these bloggers who used to blog for Raila. They are in between, they're operating in between Raila and Ruto. They still have some sort of hangover. Wamepewa pesa kidogo na si huyu mjama, what's the name of this bald PS? They are all over just talking about Ruto. They don't even understand what's going on. They have that hangover from the 2022 election loss. If you go in a country where things are working properly, you won't even look at Kenya twice, you know? Right now, if anybody gets sick, apate cancer, aende hospitali, the hospitals will not even be able to help you. Not because of the experts. Hiyo pesa utaweza kuraise, unaona? Our healthcare is down, our education system is down, our road network imepungua. Ukitembea streets za Nairobi hatuwezi drive usiku, it's dark everywhere. And there's somebody who's still shouting, what's this name? Sakaja. There's somebody who's still here shouting, oh, Babu Owino, watu wanafanana. Babu Owino will go to parliament, atapewa zake, atapigia sheria yenye anataka kura. So this is what I want to say. Let's start talking about IBC. Let's put pressure on that. Let's have the IBC constituted. Then tuanze kuangalia candidates wagani wanafaa kwenda bunge. Nani anafaa kuwa MCA? Ni nani anafaa kuwa governor? I looked at something, or I watched something that Morara said earlier, and he was asking a very simple and sensible question. That, well, magavana yenye wanawaibia ni wakabila gani? If you go to Siaya, Orengo is a Luo. He's among the Luos. He's serving as a Luo governor. He definitely has a corruption case, and it's being covered by the MCAs. Ukienda Muranga, utapata the same thing. Whether it's Kiambu, Muranga, Coast, you elect somebody from your tribe as your governor. He's still stealing from you. You don't even see that. You're complaining about Ruto. You know, you've given them MCAs, UDA, who can put pressure on them. So let's take the election conversation to the grassroots. Unaona? Hapo ndio tunafaa kuanzia. MCA mwenye anachaguliwa anafaa kuwa mtu mwenye amesoma na jielewa. Si tumechagua mamboga fulani hata hizi construct a complete. They cannot represent anything. They don't have an idea of what an MCA should do. Unaona? Mtu akishachaguliwa mbunge, all they run to do is to go get a house along hiyo barabara ya Athi River, or go to somewhere in Kitengela, sijui wapi, build a home, weka stima, tengeneza nice compound, and then chill. They wait for handouts. Wapeleke watoto international school. They wait for handouts. Kujenga apartment, watu wa rent. These guys are doing nothing. They're doing nothing completely. Actually, in the current parliament, I think is the most useless of all parliaments we've ever had. You know, if we vote for young people like Salasia, who should be in the forefront, they've resorted to PR. Yeah, na kupiga mapicha, kuweka online ndio waonekane. Nobody is doing anything serious that will help our country in parliament. If you know that the MPs hate you, think of it. They've completely refused to have the bursaries consolidated ili watoto wasome bure. Nao ndio wanaita kwa rambe. Ati mtoto wangu anafaa kwenda kwa shule tuite mbunge. Anakuja pale kwa kanisa mnampigia makofi. Those are the people you should chase even before you think of chasing Ruto. So let's start from the ground. That's where the conversation should start. So we can talk about Matiang'I as much as we want. We can bring all that logic and too much English here. It won't change a thing. Let's first of all fix the parliament. If we fix the parliament, we'll fix the executive, and definitely we'll fix the legislature. Wale wabunge wenye tuko nao saizi, no. Too weak, because they are puppets. They belong to specific parties, And of course, somebody will come up with an argument like, we need strong political parties. It's been abused in Kenya when you talk about strong political parties. Look at parties like ODM. These guys get a lot of funding. They don't do anything with that money. They don't stand for anything. They can cross over to the government when they want. If they're not elected. Look at UDA. They are in power. They don't even question Ruto. It's always about giving these guys like Sudi giving fanatical statements left, right, and center. There's this madman from, what's the name of this guy? There's this madman from Kikuyu. I've forgotten his name. The one who shouts in parliament instead of talking, The guy cannot
Ichungwa.
even... Ichungwa, yes. He's never been sensible at any point. He's always pro what Ruto says, whether it is right or wrong. Guys like Kuria Kimani. Kuria Kimani was a very good, innocent boy in KU. He's changed, completely. So ideally, let's go fix the parliament. That should be the rallying call. Hizo vitu za Murara kusema nataka kuwa president. Tuache hizo ndoto za mchana bwana. Let's go fix the parliament. Hata Ruto mwenyewe ataogopa. If we vote for people that we feel, na huyo mbunge akicheza, those are the people you should go. Wao ndio watu mnafaa kusalamia. Hii story ya kutengeneza memes za Ruto, well, then to what end? He's still the president. I'm not supporting him, but the reality of the matter is, we as the population, we are the ones who are taking the wrong approach. We should be putting out posters about constitute IBC, Let's put out posters about the laws that are there in parliament. That's the practical approach. Let's call out the judiciary when they defend wrong laws and do the same the parliament. Let's call out the police. Let's call out all these institutions, the independent institutions of the government, the office of the Auditor General, and all that, Instead of making memes of Ruto, putting on caskets of Ruto, it won't change an inch. 2027, we'll be back on the same spot and mark time. And this is my final shot. If you're a 25-year-old boy today, by the time Ruto leaves government, you'll be 33 years. Another puppet will take over. By the time that puppet leaves power, you'll be possibly 43 years. Part of your useful and productive life will be lost completely. Because, one, we've refused to take the long, right path in fixing things, but we've resorted to making memes and making jokes out of them. Thank you.
Sasa hata umefanya nimeanza kujiuliza kama ukweli I really need to have those memes. But that is activism by art. Yeah, that is